Chapter 10, Switching It Up. I froze you with my freeze ray, said a third grader as she held out her hands in front of her. No! Flamethrower, save me! Said a fourth grader with her hands flailing in the air. Whoosh! Said another fourth grader as he sprayed his fire at the frozen fourth grader. Thanks, said the now unfrozen fourth grader. Paralysis, said a fifth grader, placing his hands on the shoulder of the two fourth graders. We win, said the third grader, jumping up and down with her hands in the air. Aww, whined the two fourth graders. So, it's been 2 weeks since I've introduced my game to the school, and over half of the school plays it during recess and lunch recess. So much so that Funmaker John has stopped bringing out other games that people used to play. TJ, this is the best game ever, said the third grader as she raced towards the water fountain. Yeah, TJ, you should have been a future Funmaker sooner, said the fifth grader as he followed close behind the third grader. What other games are you going to come up with? Asked the fourth grader as he passed by running backwards. Everyone is enjoying my game. Well, almost everyone. Hey guys, I said to Justin, Paul, Sammy, and Marcus, who were all sitting under a tree. Hey, Justin answered back unenthusiastically. I'm sorry, but Funmaker John says that we can't loiter during recess, I said, squatting down in front of the group. Loiter? Paul said, annoyed. Yeah, we can't just sit down during recess, I explained. We have to be engaged in an athletic activity. We're discussing which athletic activity we should join in, since our favorite game has been taken over by half of the school, Sammy said while using a stick to doodle in the dirt. Come on, guys, I pleaded. That's not fair. Justin stood up, which made me stand up. You're right, he shouted in my face. It isn't fair. I was just trying to make sure we would be able to play TJ League anytime we wanted to without getting hassled by Funmaker John, I said, taking a few steps backward. Well, congratulations, Paul said, standing beside Justin. You succeeded. So then why are you guys mad at me? I asked, taking a step forward. Because we can't play TJ League anymore, Marcus said strongly, joining Justin and Paul. But you said, it's called TJ League, shouted Justin, interrupting me. Oh, come on, guys, I said, putting my hands on my hips and taking a few steps in a circle. You might want to pay attention to your game, Sammy said, standing and pointing behind me. Seems like some people are getting a little too serious. As I turned around, I saw two third graders flailing their arms at each other, so I ran over to separate them. Just as I reached them, Funmaker John blew his whistle, signaling the end of recess. Down and done, Funmaker John called out. Down and done, future Funmakers echoed. Every student took a knee and placed their hands on their head. Every student except for Justin, Paul, Sammy, and Marcus, who only took a knee. Down and done, guys, I said as I jogged over to the guys. We are down, Sammy pointed out. But you guys have to put your hands on your head, remember? And what's that going to accomplish? Justin asked with some sass in his voice. Come on, guys, Paul said as he put his hands on his head. That was a rule before TJ betrayed us. Betrayed, I shouted. Just then, Funmaker John blew his whistle again, signaling for everyone to line up. Walking feet, Funmaker John called out. Walking feet. Future Funmakers repeated. Walking feet, squawk. Justin mimicked like a parrot as he walked to his line. Paul and Sammy joined in the mimicry, while Marcus walked a short distance behind them. I gave Justin a dirty look as he looked back to stick his tongue out at me. As everyone lined up, some future Funmakers made sure that all the game equipment was returned to their proper places. Eric and I were in charge of making sure that lines were straight and quiet. Shoes! Eric shouted. Behind shoes! Students in line responded as they quickly straightened up their lines by putting their shoes directly behind the shoes of the person in front of them. Arms! I shouted. Length apart! Students in line responded as they placed their right hand on the shoulder of the person in front of them to space themselves equally, then dropping them when they were done. Since there were no teachers visibly in the hallway on their way to retrieve their classes, Eric and I led the students in a chant. First, we said it in our inside voices, followed by our outside voices, and finished it up with our whisper voices. Flight and speed, Eric shouted. Flight and speed, the students echoed. Stealth indeed, I shouted. Stealth indeed, they responded. American pride, Eric shouted. American pride, the students replied. Lasso of truth and webs to fly, I shouted. Lasso of truth and webs to fly, they called out. We protect and serve all living things, Eric shouted louder than before. We protect and serve all living things, they copied in volume. The TJ League reigns supreme, I shouted louder than Eric. The TJ League reigns supreme, the students cried out with their fists in the air. Eric and I walked up and down the lines. The students did their best to stand up straight and look straight ahead. Anyone out of line, not paying attention or talking, was sent to the back of the line. Students quickly adjusted their feet and the spaces in front of them if this happened in their line. In no time, teachers were walking slowly down the hallway, laughing at something none of us had heard. After taking the students back to their classes, Eric and I began walking down the hallway towards our own classrooms. TJ, Funmaker called to me. Eric and I turned around to face Funmaker John. Just TJ, Funmaker John specified. Yes, I responded as Eric continued walking. I gotta hand it to you, TJ. Your game seems to be a big success, he said enthusiastically. I guess, I said shyly, staring at the ground. Don't be so modest, Funmaker John said as he placed his hand under my chin to raise my head so that we were making eye contact. I'll admit, when Principal Martinez first approached me with the idea about adding you to the future Funmakers, I had my reservations. Reservations? I said, not knowing what it meant. Doubts, Funmaker John clarified. I had my doubts. I gave Funmaker John a "what are you talking about" look. Don't get me wrong. I mean, before that, you had only given me trouble. You know, he said, pointing at his butt, being a pain in my gluteus maximus. Is he talking French or something? I have no idea what he is saying. He must have seen the confusion on my face because he followed it up quickly. But, he said with a smile, you were a pain in my butt. You were the one who came in and changed everything we ever knew, I said passionately. How was I supposed to react? Trust me, he started. I know how you feel. This isn't the first school I've been assigned to. What? I started it. The Recess Revitalization Foundation is a national program, he explained. Principals and school districts hire us to make recess more structured and help students handle situations without the assistance of a supervision aide or an adult. In other words, to help you think for yourselves. But I already know how to think for myself, I assured him. I hadn't noticed, Funmaker John said sarcastically. We both laughed at his sarcasm. I never thought I'd do that. Laugh with Funmaker John. I have to admit, I said more seriously, being a future Funmaker isn't as bad as I thought it would be. Seems like you've learned the reasoning behind the second rule of Recess Revitalization Foundation, Funmaker John commented. Try a game that's not the same, I said matter-of-factly. And rule number 3, he continued. Don't shun my fun, I continued. Yeah, he said. Guess it's a good thing you've got a smart principal. Yeah, I agreed. Who knows? Funmaker John said more excitedly. You might even be selected to be Future Funmaker of the Month. Future Funmaker of the Month was voted on by all future Funmakers. If there was a tie, Funmaker John was the deciding vote. Really? I asked, truly interested. Hey, he began. If there's anything I've learned from this experience, it's that anything can happen. This last comment made me chuckle. Well, I better let you go before you get into trouble with your teacher, Funmaker John said, holding his right hand up. Okay, I responded, jumping to give him a high five before I hurried back to my classroom. See you later.